Hello parents. I'm sorry that you can't be here in school with us. Usually you'd be invited in for an evening in June to come and meet us all and come and explore the site and ask questions. Technology is helping, so I'll do what I can on this video to give you the information that you're going to want at the moment, and hopefully soon you will be able to come into our lovely grounds here. For those of you who don't know, my name's Andrea Simonson and I'm head teacher here at Farncombe Infant School, and I'm very pleased to have been here for the last 14 years, quite a long time, working with a fabulous group of teachers here. Zoe Betchley, Moira Houston and Rebecca Turner are the teachers that you'll meet first, and potentially Kate Thomas, who is our special needs coordinator. And that team will be working with you every day to help your child through reception. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our school now. Hopefully you've had 2 emails from me, and hopefully your child has been on some of the Zoom stories. We ran 5 story times earlier this month so that they could start to get to know our faces and our voices, and also to see the new friends that they're going to make in September. Later on this term, you'll be able to come into school in July with your child and spend some time in Beach Class and in Sycamore. Our classes are named after all the trees that grow here in our school grounds, and we mix the children up as much as we can. They are in 5 different classes. Our younger children tend to start in Sycamore class, and our older reception children tend to start in Beach. But as soon as they've been in the building for 10 minutes and they've done the register and found out what the schedule is for the day, they'll mix up for their reading and their spelling groups. And then an hour later, they'll mix up again for reception playtime. And at lunchtime, they'll mix up again for when reception have their lunch together. So we really expect children to come in September and to make friends right the way across their year group, not just with those who happen to be in Sycamore or in Beach Class. So we have a mission statement here, which you may know, and if you haven't looked on our website, I really encourage you to do so as soon as you can. Our mission statement is all about inspiration, imagination, individuality, and it absolutely drives everything that we do in school. Sure, we don't get it right every single time, but it really is our aim. And we do have an inspiring curriculum here. We're always looking to bring some excitement and some creativity into the different days and the different lessons that the children are having. We find that because of the inspiration and because of the way the teachers are imaginative and the high expectations that they have, that our children end up very well prepared for junior school. Our school is particularly strong in reading, and we certainly will have almost every child reading at the expected standard before they leave here in year 2. With our individuality, you'll find during your time here that your child's provision may not be exactly the same as possibly the child who lives down the road. Where a child needs some extra nurture, we put that in place. Where a child needs some extra challenge, we provide that as well. In terms of our curriculum, we run whole school topics here. And that's really the starting point for the inspiration. So there'll be a history or a geography topic each half term. It will link in with what other classes are doing at all different levels. That's our individuality. And there'll be a wow factor attached to it. So that may be that we have visitors into school. It may be that there's a special event that we run and everybody dresses up or brings in money for charity. It may be that the children take a trip out of school, and because it's the whole school, it really builds together a lovely cohesive environment and team here. It's really important to us that we are a church school, and we go over to St John's Church on a regular basis. When your child starts in September, we'll do a little walk over to St John's. It helps with road safety as well. We'll take them over carefully, we'll introduce them to the church, they'll meet James, who's the vicar, and then in October they'll have their first church service, our Harvest Festival, as part of our school. And then as your child moves into year 1 and year 2, they'll be performing in the church as well. We're not complacent as a school. You know, I think it's a wonderful place here, but there's always room for improvement. One of the things we're working on at the moment is developing a forest school area, and our plans were slightly scuppered by the coronavirus pandemic this year. So we weren't able to go ahead with the family planting day in March that we had organised, but we are developing a forest school area in our school garden, and actually I can hear that there's a group of children over there right now. You might just be able to hear their voices in the background. This will just develop more and more over this year, with the aim being that by Easter we will have a regular setup of classes using the forest school space. In recent years we've also been developing some philosophical thought for our children, and that will continue. There's going to be lots for you to find out about as parents. We're a large and complicated organisation, and you're not going to have a handle on everything we do in day one. So there will be regular communication to you. There'll be newsletters, there'll be emails, there'll be texts. Please do make sure that you join Parent Mail so that you can receive all of those communications, and do sign up for a class WhatsApp group as well. You'll find that I'll be in the playground, usually 3 mornings a week, and that will just help out with quick questions, regular queries. Class teachers are generally available at the end of every day as well. In terms of induction, as I said earlier, hopefully your child's already been on one of our little Zoom stories, and hopefully we'll see them here in school in July for a visit. And then in September we'll have groups of 10 in for a day, so that we can just get to know the children a little bit more. And at the end of that week we'll have 5 groups of 10. At the end of that week we'll know where we'd like your child to spend their first year in school, either in Sycamore class or in Beach class. So we'll tell you that information at that stage. Later in September there'll be another meeting for you, and that will be led by your child's class teaching team, so the teacher and the teaching assistants there, and they'll give you some nitty-gritty about the different routines, how to use the different books and the different resources that go between home and school, and just finding out a little bit more about the routines and the expectations in your child's class. In October we'll have a parents' evening, so you'll get to just sit down with your child's new teacher and talk about how your child settled into school and if they need any extra support. And in November I will run a reading seminar, so that we can talk about how you can help your child develop those early reading skills at home. For now, lots of parents will want to know, well, what can I do between now and September? How can I help my child get ready for school? It really comes down to independence and self-control. So yes, if your child can count up to 100, that's lovely, and if they can read some words, and if they can do a little bit of writing, that's great as well. We're not going to say no thank you to any of those things. They're marvellous. They're not as important as the attitudes though. What we really want to see are children who can put their coat on, take their coat off, who can follow simple instructions, so go to the toilet and wash your hands, or go and put your paper in the green tray, or go and get a pencil and sit down at the red table. So simple instructions like that. They'll be encouraged to eat a nice hot lunch that's freshly cooked on site. If it's difficult to cut up the meat, we have roast day on a Wednesday, it's lovely. we will help them with that. And if it's sausages, we will help them to cut up their sausages, but we want them to have a go first of all. We want them to try and to use their cutlery. We want them to try maybe a different kind of food that they've never eaten before. So independence and I suppose confidence as well. And at the same time to have that self-control. So children who start school with the independence and with the self-control tend to have a more successful September than children who start without. It's quite a leap to go from that ratio at nursery where perhaps you've been with your key worker and there may be 6 or 8 of you, to suddenly being in a class where there's a teacher and maybe 1 or 2 teaching assistants. The ratios are quite different. And the teacher will want to help your child to put their jumper on or to find their missing hat, but is it really the best use of their time if they're doing that for 10 or 15 children? It's not really, is it? And also your child and your teacher will want to sit down and do some focused learning with your child every day. They're going to want to sit down and do some reading or some writing, some maths work, a science investigation, a chat about history and some really interesting questions and introducing new vocabulary. They can do that if the other children allow that focused group to take place by getting on with their own learning, which will be in another part of the classroom, and not coming over and tapping the teacher and asking them for something. We find here at Farncombe that usually there'll be about 3/4 of children who will start school successfully and find it quite easy and quite exciting to come in and experience these new routines and make new friends and play with new things and just feel like a big boy or a big girl. There's usually about 1/4 of children who find it hard to get settled. They may be distressed in the morning, they may just be anxious, they may just find it hard to say goodbye to you. They may just struggle with the social interaction and there being lots of new people and maybe a little bit noisy or a bit fraught when you first come in the classroom and everyone's putting their things away before we get settled in. So for a variety of reasons, there's usually about 1/4 of children who struggle. So if that's your child, don't worry, we're here to help, okay? We will help you. We'll have meetings with you, or we can ring you and we can talk about strategies. Generally by January, there'll only be about 10% of children who are struggling, and by Easter, a tiny handful, okay? But again, we are here to help. Now, it's difficult to know what September's going to look like, so I'm recording this on the 22nd of June, and Gavin Williamson just made his announcement on Friday to say schools will be back in September, every child back full-time, and we'll tell schools how to do that in 2 weeks' time. So the guidance hasn't arrived yet. I'm hoping that the government have a plan, that it wasn't just an empty announcement and some kind of ambition rather than an actual intention. But at the moment, I can't really tell you any more information. I'd love to say that we have early birds running from 8 a.m. because usually we do. I'd love to say that we have owls after school care running until 4:30. I'd love to tell you that on a Wednesday afternoon we mix all the classes up and we run 7 different clubs, and they're super fun, and Wednesday's normally children's favourite day of the week. But I don't know yet whether or not we're permitted to mix up our bubbles in that way. All I can say is that at present we are planning for our usual provision in September. We're planning for the whole shebang, all the things that make this a wonderful place to begin education. And if we need to scale back a little bit, we will. So I will see you next month, okay? I'll be here in the school playground, ready to meet your child and to meet you and to answer any questions you have and to start your child's journey here. I really look forward to being part of it. Thank you.